The girl picks up a whole bucket of ice and dumps it right over herself. This act forces everyone in the room to witness just how tough she really is. This woman's name is Heir. She runs a handmade shoe shop with her younger brother. Her father passed away after getting involved with loan sharks. Because of this, the two siblings live a miserable life, constantly hounded by debt collectors. To make matters worse, her older sister is unfortunately in a vegetative state and has been hospitalized for a long time. The caregiver keeps nagging her to pay the overdue medical fees. The income from the shoe store just isn't enough to make ends meet. This is a woman who can do almost anything, except, well, she just doesn't have any money. So, she starts taking on side jobs as an Italian interpreter. Just as she is discussing business with a client at a bar, a man suddenly barges in. Without saying a word, he downs a drink first, then explains why he's there and asks Heir to translate for him. He explains that he has already made samples using the specific leather that the client has, so he simply can't give up on it. However, the client argues that that's not his problem. The man insists that a verbal agreement is still a binding contract and wants the client to honor it. The client then asks for Heir's opinion, and she replies that something bad can never turn into something good. It turns out this man is in the leather shoe business just like Heir. His name is Injun, and he comes from a wealthy Chaebol family. Heir realized that the man sitting across from them had stolen Injun's business deal, which is why she said that to the client and even smirked at him mockingly. Unexpectedly, the man splashes a glass of wine right in her face. But Heir is even bolder. She grabs a whole bucket of ice, dumps it over her own head, and declares that since she's already wet, she doesn't need to change her clothes. Witnessing Heir's actions, everyone in the bar is completely stunned. At that moment, an indescribable feeling stirs within Injun. He thinks Heir is an employee of the bar, so he quickly pulls out some cash, planning to ask her to help persuade the client again. But to his surprise, Heir, insulted by the misunderstanding, slaps him right across the face. Injun refuses to give up. He knows that only Heir can help him land this contract. To clear up the misunderstanding, Injun basically forces Heir into his car to drive her home and apologizes to her along the way. Looking at Heir's hands, Injun guesses that she is a shoemaker. He then apologizes for mistaking her for an escort and once again tries to convince Heir to help him talk to the Italian client. Before leaving, Heir suggests that Injun get an autograph from a celebrity the Italian client likes to use as a gift. Returning to the shoe shop, Heir sees the loan shark loading items from the store onto a truck. He announces that he has sold her father's shop to pay off the debt. Furious, Heir confronts him, accusing him of forcing her father into a loan with sky-high interest rates, which drove him to insanity and eventually his death. The loan shark shoves her to the ground, declaring that he's been too easy on her lately, which is why she's disrespecting him. Then, he starts smashing her belongings. Injun, sitting in his car nearby, witnesses this entire scene. Heir holds her framed diploma, now behind shattered glass, crying as she remembers her late father. Her father used to say that good shoes take you to good places, so even though she already had plenty of shoes, he still made a brand new pair just for her. Thanks to Heir's help, Injun successfully signs the contract. To show his gratitude, Injun pays her a generous amount of money, leaves his business card, and tells her to reach out if she ever needs help. But as soon as Injun leaves, both the business card and the money are snatched out of Heir's hands by another woman. It turns out to be Soo-hyun, a famous TV host. She tells Heir that Injun is her fiancé. She says Heir can keep the money, but she shouldn't even dream of keeping his contact information. Soo-hyun even uses her professional announcer voice to mock Heir in a cruel, condescending way. Back at her shabby home, while cleaning up her things, Heir suddenly makes a discovery. Injun is actually the chairman of a major group, and she sees the official announcement of his engagement to Soo-hyun. Recalling the mocking words Soo-hyun threw at her, Heir decides to do something she has never done before in her life. At this moment, Injun is hosting a wine party to celebrate the successful signing of his contract. So, Heir goes to her best friend's laundromat and borrows a magnificent evening gown to crash the party. This is the first time Heir has ever worn makeup and dressed up so beautifully. Even Injun is surprised, almost failing to recognize her. When he realizes she came alone, Injun gentlemanly offers his hand to invite her in. Looking at Injun's gentle eyes, she tells herself that she must win this man's heart. Just like that, Heir follows Injun into the high society world that people always gossip about. Stepping into such a luxurious place for the first time, Heir can't help but feel a bit out of place. Everything here makes her curious. Meanwhile, Injun, having just invited her in, rushes off to greet other guests. Heir feels a sense of disappointment as she watches his back as he walks away. Suddenly, a waiter accidentally bumps into her. In the confusion, Heir accidentally breaks the heel of one of her shoes. This incident makes her even more flustered. The party is about to start, but the main character of the night, Injun's fiancée Soo-hyun, has not appeared yet. The reason is that her child is sick, and she is currently meeting her ex-husband to discuss the issue. However, when she arrives at the hospital, Soo-hyun doesn't go in to visit her child. Instead, she just stands outside and scolds her ex-husband. Afterward, she heads to the laundromat to pick up her ceremonial dress. Unexpectedly, and ironically, that very dress has been borrowed by Heir. Right at this critical moment, a clumsy staff member bumps into a power cord, causing a sudden blackout in the entire banquet hall. The VIP guests are annoyed by the chaotic scene and intend to leave. Just then, a melodious and seductive tune drifts up from downstairs. Who would have expected that such a wonderful song could ring out in a place like this? At this point, whether she is wearing shoes or not doesn't matter anymore. The elderly client is completely captivated by Heir's singing voice. Equally attracted is the host of the party, In-jun. Heir's voice has conquered the two most powerful men present, and naturally, she becomes a guest of honor. The wealthy tycoon generously declares, lend her the helicopter to watch the fireworks, and In-jun will personally accompany her. Is this happiness coming too suddenly? Heir can hardly believe what is happening right before her eyes. She, a person who usually worries about her next meal and clothing, now feels like a truly wealthy person. But her beautiful dream is shattered the moment the helicopter lands. As soon as Heir steps off the aircraft, she is pulled out by Soo-hyun and slapped hard across the face. Heir hurriedly apologizes to Soo-hyun and says she will pay for the evening gown. Soo-hyun calls Heir trash while ripping the evening gown to shreds with her hands. After that, the pitiful Heir has to carry her shoes and walk barefoot in the rain. Perhaps the raindrops will help soothe the pain in her heart. Just then, In-jun runs up from behind, takes off his suit jacket, drapes it over Heir's shoulders, and then quietly leaves in a dashing manner. In reality, aside from money, In-jun has nothing. Although he is the eldest son of a Chaebol family, at home, he has to deal with a hot-tempered and grumpy father, face a scheming and cunning stepmother, and contend with a brother who is always trying to fight for inheritance rights. To protect the shoemaking business his mother built, he is even forced to marry Soo-hyun, a daughter of another wealthy Chaebol family, whom he does not love. Soo-hyun insists that In-jun explain why he reached his hand out toward Heir when they got off the helicopter earlier. In-jun gives her no explanation at all. He only asks Soo-hyun if she is afraid of losing to Heir. This question makes Soo-hyun storm off in anger. But don't just look at Soo-hyun's arrogant and bossy exterior. On stage, she projects the image of a gentle TV host loved by everyone. But behind the scenes, she isn't nearly as nice as people imagine. She and Tae-oh, the head of a department store company in Hong Kong, were romantically involved but never married. In fact, they even have a daughter together. Yet now, she abandons her hospitalized daughter to come here and find a way to get close to In-jun. Just how good can such an irresponsible mother really be? Having just returned from abroad, Tae-oh reads the news of their engagement. At the same time, he spots photos of Heir and In-jun together. Previously, Heir had repaired shoes for Tae-oh, so the two of them have known each other for a long time. So, Tae-oh goes to the hospital, finds Heir taking care of her sister, and hands her a large sum of money. Looking at the number on the check, Heir is stunned. Tae-oh proposes a partnership with Heir. He wants them to work together to steal someone's heart. He then produces a photo announcing the wedding of In-jun and Soo-hyun. Staring at the money before her, Heir falls deep into thought. Meanwhile, two titans of the shoe industry are discussing a partnership. Believing that In-jun stole his girlfriend, Tae-oh, acting as the representative for the Hong Kong company, begins to make things difficult for In-jun. Furthermore, he instructs his secretary to present shoe samples from a specific designer, claiming they fit the theme of In-jun's company perfectly. Completely unaware of this, In-jun is still thinking about asking Soo-hyun for help. He buys roses and waits for Soo-hyun to get off work, even inconsiderately asking about her father's hobbies. Soo-hyun mentions that her father's birthday party is next week and tells In-jun to attend. After In-jun leaves, Soo-hyun hurriedly checks the news. It turns out that the person negotiating the partnership with In-jun is none other than her ex-boyfriend. At this realization, Soo-hyun feels a bit panicked. In-jun immediately sets out to find the designer of the shoe sample Tae-oh provided. A beautiful candidate arrives for an interview and, upon seeing the shoe on the screen, instantly recognizes it as Heir's design. She tells In-jun that she and Heir were classmates while studying abroad in Italy, and that Heir is a very renowned designer. She further reveals that Heir is currently running a shoe shop called Mr. Gu's Shop in Busan. In-jun suddenly remembers that on the night he drove Heir home, he had seen that very shop. Hearing this news, In-jun is overjoyed, as if he struck gold. He immediately heads to the airport, planning to fly to Busan right away. However, his assistant reminds him that today is Soo-hyun's father's birthday, and he had promised to attend. In-jun immediately delegates this important task to his assistant. He is determined to find Heir and ask for her help. This is the only way he can secure the partnership with the Hong Kong department store. Otherwise, the land he painstakingly prepared for his shoe factory will be snatched by his older brother to invest in a different project. And his hot-tempered father cares only about money, not people. Whichever project makes the most profit is the one he will support. Meanwhile, Heir has gone to find Teo. Just as Heir asks Teo what she needs to do, Teo calmly tells her there is no need to rush. In-jun will come find her himself. Having received the money, Heir rushes to the loan sharks to pay off her debt. When In-jun arrives at the shoe store, Heir is nowhere to be found. He bribes the leader of the loan sharks to get her contact information. Meanwhile, Heir has paid off the full debt, but the man makes even more unreasonable demands. Subsequently, she gets beaten up by the gang. In-jun, searching outside, hears the screams and rushes in, grabbing Heir to help her escape. His expression remains calm, acting as if nothing unusual had just happened. At this moment, In-jun asks Heir to make leather shoes with him. He pulls out a shoe sample and says he wants to buy Heir's design concept. Keep in mind, In-jun is a titan in the shoe manufacturing industry. Heir is completely stunned by this sudden stroke of luck. She asks In-jun why he suddenly wants to hire her. And right then, Heir remembers that she has already agreed to partner with Teo to steal this man's heart. So, she heads back home and carries out a box of shoes. In-jun is overjoyed. These are exactly the shoe designs he has been looking for. But Heir sets one condition. No matter what she does, In-jun must not fall in love with her. Although In-jun doesn't quite understand what she means, he reluctantly agrees. As soon as he gets home, his father starts nagging him about marriage again, urging him and Soo-hyun to tie the knot quickly. Furthermore, the old man has absolutely no respect for In-jun's leather shoe business and wants him to switch to a different industry immediately. Since In-jun hasn't achieved anything significant yet, he doesn't dare to say a single word in protest. Meanwhile, his aunt is eavesdropping on their conversation from outside when she gets caught red-handed by her mother-in-law. Watching this scene, you realize that being a daughter-in-law in a Chaebol family is truly not easy at all. It was clearly her husband who sent her to eavesdrop, yet she's the one getting a scolding from her mother-in-law. Seeing his mother scold his wife, the husband doesn't even bother to care. As for Heir, after paying off all her debts and finding a job, she packs up all her belongings and asks Teo to take her sister away from their hometown to start a new life. This is Heir's first day at work. As soon as she steps through the door, she sees a gigantic poster of Soo-hyun. Heir firmly tells herself, "Our game has only just begun." Meanwhile, Soo-hyun is still calling her ex-boyfriend to arrange a meeting. But Teo tells her that now is not the time to meet him. He adds, "The girl who stole your evening gown has already found her way to your boyfriend." The wealthy heiress immediately pulls a sudden U-turn and speeds straight to the company. She gets straight to the point, loudly ordering Heir to leave. Then, once again using her signature MC tone, she sarcastically mocks and ridicules Heir. Surprisingly, Heir doesn't flinch at all. Furious, Soo-hyun delivers another slap. Still not satisfied, she is about to continue when In-jun appears just in time. He calls his secretary to escort Soo-hyun home. After work hours, In-jun meets with Soo-hyun. He reminds her once again that theirs is merely a political marriage, and currently, she is just a model he hired. He hopes she won't interfere in his company's affairs anymore. Having said that, he leaves in a cool, carefree manner. Seeing In-jun's coldness and recalling the words Heir said to her earlier, Soo-hyun feels uneasy. So, without even taking time to fix her makeup, she hurriedly calls her mother and asks her to bring the highest quality wild ginseng. If she can't sway the son, she must find a way to win over the father-in-law first. At that moment, In-jun's uncle calls to inform him that Soo-hyun has arrived at the house. In-jun rushes home. The first thing that catches his eye is the box of precious wild ginseng on the table. Clearly, this gift has successfully bribed the old man's heart. He has agreed to let Soo-hyun become the art director for In-jun's company. In-jun is surprised, but he has no choice but to accept it. It seems Soo-hyun is determined to act like the lady of the house already. With his mind in turmoil, In-jun goes to find Heir again. Seeing the bowl of instant noodles Heir is holding, he sits down to eat noodles with her. He comforts her, telling her to forget about Soo-hyun coming to cause trouble, and advises her to just focus on her work. He hopes that all the latest products for the partnership with Hong Kong will be designed by Heir. Hearing her boss's trust and validation, and then remembering her true purpose for being there, Heir feels a sudden pang of guilt. As soon as Heir walks out the door, she sees Teo waiting for her. Teo reminds her once again to stick to the contract. Heir says she knows her limits and hopes Teo won't push her too hard. After saying that, she immediately goes to find In-jun, who is just leaving the company, and uses the excuse of celebrating her new position to invite him out for a meal. In-jun naturally doesn't refuse and takes her to a restaurant he frequents. The two of them drink and chat about life. Heir says she is finally living her ideal life, making it to the big city and having a good job. She also tells In-jun about her experiences studying abroad in Italy. In turn, In-jun shares about his time studying abroad in the US. It's as if they have found a soulmate in each other, and they keep downing glass after glass. They have just left when Soo-hyun arrives. Staring at the empty seats where they had just been, The very same spot In-jun had once taken her. She is now left all alone, drinking to drown her sorrows. Back at home, Heir happily shares the excitement of her first day at work with her best friend. The two of them clink glasses, toasting to a brighter future for them both. Meanwhile, Soo-hyun hurriedly arranges a meeting with her ex-boyfriend. She demands to know if Tae-oh partnered with In-jun because of her, and if he sought out Heir out of hatred to exact revenge on her. Tae-oh frankly admits it, which only fuels Soo-hyun's rage. She never expected that the current Tae-oh would dare to openly declare war on her. Having heard enough, she turns around and storms off without a moment's hesitation. Tae-oh recalls the painful memory of being abandoned along with their child all those years ago. At this moment, his resolve for revenge becomes even more unshakable. Elsewhere, the mother and son duo is plotting how to deal with In-jun. The cunning stepmother begins scheming for her son. She points out that In-jun's lifeline is Tae-oh, so they must seize this opportunity to pull him over to their side. This time, they are determined to turn the tables and get the chairman to kick In-jun out. The son agrees, saying that is truly a brilliant idea. However, their conversation is secretly recorded by the daughter-in-law, who has endured enough of their cowardice and mistreatment. If Heir knew the misery of being a daughter-in-law in this household, one wonders if she would still dare to seduce In-jun. As a newcomer, Heir's work life isn't going smoothly either. She is ostracized by all her colleagues. They even force her to work as a delivery girl. She arrives at a place that specializes in making branding stamps for shoes. Heir stares intently at an old-fashioned branding iron. She remarks that she is delighted to see such a tool. She explains that stamping each pair of shoes feels like giving them a name. It feels very special. In-jun mentions that his mother used to say the exact same thing. Heir replies that her father was the one who said that to her. Heir tells In-jun that her dream is to be like his mother and create a leather shoe brand bearing her own name. By discussing dreams, Heir takes another step closer to achieving her goal. Meanwhile, Soo-hyun is planning the wedding with her mother. Her mother insists that for a conglomerate family like theirs, the wedding must be incredibly lavish. If it were simple, people would suspect it was a scam. Even Soo-hyun's father rushes to the company to pressure them about the wedding. This plunges In-jun into deep thought. He asks the shoemaker what would happen if he and Soo-hyun didn't get married. The shoemaker breaks it down for him. Without funding from Soo-hyun's father, they would remain just a small workshop forever, or even go bankrupt. Hearing these words, In-jun falls into silence again. That same day, Soo-hyun finds out from the loan sharks that it was Tae-oh who brought Heir to Seoul. But no matter how hard she tries, In-jun's heart simply does not belong to her. Elsewhere, the new leather shoe model has just come off the line. Before it even hits the market, In-jun takes a pair to give to Heir first. She eagerly slips her feet into the beautiful shoes and struts confidently down the street. In this moment, Heir realizes that everything around her is actually quite beautiful. Back at the family home, seeing that In-jun is dragging his feet on the marriage, his father drags him to the factory early in the morning to brainwash him. He tells his son, "There are 200,000 workers and their families here. Standing at the peak of this conglomerate, you must take responsibility for those 200,000 people." After his father leaves, his uncle pulls out a photo and hands it to In-jun. It turns out Soo-hyun had told the uncle about Tae-oh bringing Heir to Seoul. The uncle advises In-jun to stay away from Heir. Looking at the photo of the two of them, In-jun recalls every memory they shared, realizing that Heir had never once mentioned knowing Tae-oh. Today is the launch of their new product. Heir is once again sent out as a delivery girl, tasked with bringing shoes to Soo-hyun. Heir barely sets the shoes down neatly before Soo-hyun comes over and knocks them all over. Noticing that Heir is wearing the newest model, she seizes the opportunity to mock and ridicule her. But Heir is no pushover. She asks Soo-hyun if she is so confident, why does In-jun still not want to marry her? This remark immediately enrages Soo-hyun. She tries to slap Heir again, but Heir catches her wrist. Soo-hyun then takes the chance to shove Heir to the ground. She asks Heir what her ultimate purpose for being here is. In-jun enters the room, sees Heir pushed to the ground, but says nothing. He silently walks over, picks up her fallen shoes, and approaches her to put them back on her feet. This gesture makes Soo-hyun storm off in a rage. In-jun then walks away as well, leaving Heir behind. The new product launch event is buzzing with excitement. Suddenly, In-jun grabs Soo-hyun's hand. Soo-hyun is a bit surprised. In-jun then announces, he and Soo-hyun will get married on her birthday. Standing in the crowd below, Heir feels like she has been struck by lightning. She hurriedly flees from the hall. Arriving home, she sees the news of their wedding on TV again. Furious, Heir tosses the shoes In-jun gave her straight into the trash can. Meanwhile, Tae-oh has also seen the shocking news. Hearing a noise, his daughter runs out. Tae-oh quickly hugs his daughter, comforting her by saying everything is fine. Watching the couple on the TV, the hatred in Tae-oh's heart deepens even further. Meanwhile, In-jun's older brother, upon hearing the news that they are about to marry, throws a fit of rage at home. The stepmother hurriedly tries to calm him down, saying that many people get engaged only to break it off later, and she definitely won't let them get married. After that, the brother unleashes a loud roar like a lion. Heir begins packing her belongings. She tells her best friend that she is leaving this place. Her friend argues that it was Heir who decided to come here in the first place, and everyone followed her. If she leaves now, what are they supposed to do? Heir turns a deaf ear to her friend's advice and goes to the hospital to process her sister's discharge. But when she arrives at the hospital room, Teo is already waiting there. At that moment, Teo yanks out her sister's breathing tube and pushes Heir to the ground. Seeing her sister's life in immediate danger, Heir struggles desperately in despair. Teo tells her that since she agreed to cooperate, she must see it through to the end. In a state of anger and fear, Heir hurriedly agrees. Still in a state of panic, Heir bursts into tears. Teo tosses an envelope behind him and walks away. Stepping out of the room, he calls for a nurse to quickly check on Heir's sister. Clearly, his actions just now were merely to scare her. Heir opens the envelope and finds an emergency medical bill. It is the hospital bill from when her sister had her accident. But why is the name of the payer listed at the bottom, in June? At that time, Heir was in another province. By the time she rushed back, her sister had already been taken to the emergency room. It was only then that she heard from her best friend that her sister's ended her life. Heir looks at her sister, then looks at Injun's name on the bill. It seems a realization has dawned on her. Elsewhere, Injun is inspecting the expansion of the shoe factory. At this moment, his older brother chases him down. The brother had originally had his eye on this plot of land, but unexpectedly, because of Injun and Soo-hyun's marriage, it has now become the site for Injun's factory expansion. Meanwhile, Soo-hyun and her father are having tea at Injun's house. Hearing the news that their children have finally decided to marry, the two fathers are overjoyed. Meanwhile, the stepmother sitting nearby is scheming ways to drive a wedge between them. Injun's father heaps praise on Soo-hyun, calling her excellent. The next morning at work, at the company, Injun and Soo-hyun officially announce their wedding news. Just as everyone is congratulating them, Heir appears. She has completely transformed from head to toe, walking with an air of total defiance and confidence. Seeing this new and different Heir, everyone's expressions turn serious. Injun stares at her blankly, speechless. Soo-hyun, seeing the look in Injun's eyes as he gazes at Heir, rushes over to pick a fight. Unexpectedly, Teo steps out from behind them. The scene is quite awkward. Injun's fiancée, Soo-hyun, is Teo's ex-girlfriend. Injun and Teo are business partners, and Injun likes Heir. But there is something even more awkward. Heir bluntly declares that she is currently dating Teo. As soon as these words are spoken, both people facing them are shocked. Looking at the way their eyes lock, this relationship web is truly complicated and needs to be untangled carefully. Fearing they might get suspicious, Teo hurriedly recites his prepared lines fluently. After having his love betrayed, this man has turned into a cold-hearted person. Having said their piece, they prepare to leave. At that moment, Injun speaks up, inviting them to attend the engagement party. Soo-hyun immediately tries to stop him, claiming there is no space left. However, Injun insists that since Heir is a colleague at the company, she should just bring her boyfriend along. Teo happily agrees. After they leave, Soo-hyun familiarly gets into Teo's car. It seems Soo-hyun still doesn't believe the words Teo just said. She then warns him that whatever tricks they are playing, they had better stop right now, or she will kill both Teo and Heir. But Teo shows absolutely no fear in the face of Soo-hyun's threat. Heir and Soo-hyun run into each other in the elevator. The scheming Soo-hyun starts up again with her sarcastic remarks, mocking and threatening Heir. But she never expected that the Cinderella standing before her actually possessed an even deeper level of cunning. Back home, Heir is enjoying a professional service from her best friend. At this moment, the friend tells Heir that she gave a massage to Injun's stepmother today. During the massage, the stepmother kept cursing, saying that Soo-hyun is not a good woman and that the family had no other choice but to send her to study abroad. Hearing this, Heir shows interest. She hurriedly sits up and asks her best friend to find out more information about Soo-hyun. Although the friend is a bit suspicious, she still agrees. Afterward, Heir asks who paid the hospital bills when her sister was taken to the hospital. The friend says that she certainly didn't pay it. She was in such a panic at the time that she doesn't know who paid. Heir makes a phone call to ask the loan shark gangster if he was the one who told Soo-hyun about her sister being hospitalized, and she asked him to come to Seoul to take care of a few things. Injun stares blankly out the window, thinking about Heir saying she is dating Teo. At this moment, his uncle, standing next to him, mentions that he has investigated. It was indeed Teo who gave Heir the money to come to Seoul and even found the hospital for her comatose sister. He doesn't know exactly what their relationship is. The uncle simply thinks that if Heir is dating Teo, she won't come to bother Injun anymore. With his heart in turmoil, Injun goes to the company alone. At this time, it is raining heavily outside. Heir holds an umbrella as she walks toward the company building. Seeing Heir walk in, In-jun awkwardly asks, "It's the weekend. Why did you come to the office?" Heir replies, "Didn't you come as well?" Just like that, using work as an excuse. They look at each other, but neither is willing to speak up first. The next day, Soo-hyun goes to try on her ceremonial dress. In-jun appears distracted, while Soo-hyun spends the whole session glaring at him. After they come out, In-jun tells Soo-hyun that he wants to meet her father. Soo-hyun replies, "He's your father-in-law anyway. If you want to meet him, just go meet him." So, In-jun makes an appointment to meet his future father-in-law alone. Looking at the father-in-law's expression, it's clear that In-jun's request is certainly no small matter. The father-in-law says that if it weren't for Soo-hyun, he definitely would not have agreed to such a request from In-jun. Having gained the support of his future father-in-law, In-jun is now full of confidence. With his characteristic cold and talented aura, he walks into the meeting room. First, he fires two of the company's veterans. The older brother sitting opposite him also appears anxious, but seeing that his father has no major reaction, he has no choice but to sit down obediently. It turns out that In-jun has secured Soo-hyun's father's shares, becoming the largest shareholder of the group. Now, he even dares to oppose his own biological father. Upon arriving home, he moves all the furniture from the living room upstairs, then goes up to pay respects to his late mother. He declares that his mother is the true mistress of this house. He vows to find everyone who bullied his mother and take revenge. Since he was sent to America at the age of 12, he has always thought this way. Now, he can finally make it happen. Elsewhere, Tae-oh and Soo-hyun's daughter is still hospitalized. The doctor says her condition has worsened, requiring an urgent liver transplant, and urges him to contact the child's mother immediately. Meanwhile, Soo-hyun is casually choosing her wedding dress here. Seeing her daughter looking unhappy, the mother speaks up to comfort her. Indeed, the older the ginger, the spicier it gets. Looking at the mother's views on marriage is enough to understand. It turns out Soo-hyun is exactly like her mother. Over here, the loan shark gangster has actually come to find Heir. Heir asks him how much money he took from Soo-hyun to investigate her, and tells him she will pay double for his help. The guy doesn't believe her, asking where she would get that kind of money. But looking at the determined look in Heir's eyes, he starts to believe her a little. Finally, the day of In-jun and Soo-hyun's engagement party arrives. This marriage represents a powerful merger between two major businesses. The two fathers are so overjoyed they can't stop grinning. The older brother, furious, drinks while cursing at his wife, saying that if it weren't for her, he would be the one marrying this woman. In-jun takes out the ring and slowly slides it onto Soo-hyun's finger. The entire hall erupts in applause to bless them. At that moment, both of them looked in the same direction. Heir appears once again, looking absolutely magnificent, and beside her stands an incredibly handsome boyfriend. Judging by their attire, it looks as if they are the ones getting engaged. The actual engaged couple just stands there, staring blankly. This guest outshining the host vibe leaves everyone present a bit stunned. Nevertheless, the party must go on, just with a slightly awkward atmosphere added to the mix. Heir says she has a gift for In-jun, then borrows In-jun from Soo-hyun. After they walk away, Tae-oh casually strolls over to Soo-hyun and remarks, "This second engagement of yours looks much more practiced, doesn't it?" Soo-hyun continues to threaten Tae-oh, warning him not to do anything excessive or she won't spare him. At this point, Tae-oh tells her that their daughter is very sick. He doesn't care if she gets married, but their daughter needs her kidney. Hearing these words, Soo-hyun looks visibly tense for about 3 seconds. Let's look back at Heir taking the groom upstairs. What kind of gift does she want to give him? She slowly takes off the shoes she is wearing, hands them to In-jun, and says that these are shoes she made with her own hands, the very shoes his mother wished for. In-jun looks at the shoes engraved with his mother's name. It turns out that during their last conversation, In-jun had told Heir the story about his mother and the shoes. Heir had worked day and night to handcraft a pair of shoes exactly as his mother had wished, a pair she never had the chance to finish. At this moment, looking at the shoes, In-jun feels a whirlwind of mixed emotions. The Heir standing before him is someone he just cannot understand. He stares silently at Heir for a long time. Then, Heir makes a request. She asks him not to get married. After 2 seconds of being lost in thought, In-jun hurriedly lies to himself, saying that he is currently very happy and that he loves Soo-hyun very much. Rejected, Heir has no choice but to walk out of the hotel barefoot, slowly. Tae-oh is already waiting for her in the car. Seeing Heir return, he anxiously asks how it went. Heir says In-jun wants to live happily with Soo-hyun, so there's nothing she can do. Tae-oh comments that her outfit was too flashy, men don't like that. Heir grabs Tae-oh's hand and retorts, "Either you go seduce In-jun yourself, or let me decide how to do it." Tae-oh immediately threatens, "If you can't do it, don't forget your sister will be in danger." In-jun stands there holding the shoes, dazed, unable to snap out of it for a long time. Heir has begun cooperating with the loan shark gangster to investigate the details of her sister's accident, as well as to gather all sorts of information on Soo-hyun. Who would have thought that her past relationship with this debt collector would now be so helpful to her? As for In-jun, Thanks to the support of his future father-in-law, he brazenly makes a card for his father to enter a nursing home, telling him to go retire and not to come to work anymore. The father furiously tears the admission paper in his hands to shreds. Perhaps back then, the hurt his father caused him and his mother was immense. Otherwise, a son wouldn't be so heartless. Back home, In-jun's mind is flooded with the image of Heir asking him not to get married. Soo-hyun also can't stop thinking about what Tae-oh said about their daughter being critically ill at the engagement party. So, the two of them arrange to meet again. Soo-hyun hands Tae-oh some money, saying either get the surgery or go to the US for treatment. Tae-oh replies that what he needs is a kidney, not money. We have truly never seen a mother so cruel. Her daughter's life hangs in the balance, yet all she cares about is her own reputation and status. Out of options, Tae-oh hands her a photo of their daughter, begging her to at least watch the child from a distance just once before making her decision. Meanwhile, the loan shark gangster has managed to investigate Soo-hyun, although he mutters under his breath, claiming he didn't find anything significant. However, the sharp-eyed Heir notices that Soo-hyun spent some time studying abroad in Hong Kong. The gangster adds that Tae-oh was also in Hong Kong during that exact period, but when he returned, he brought a child back with him. Heir seems to have pieced something together. Tae-oh is brushing his daughter's hair. He wants to groom her to look beautiful before taking her to meet Soo-hyun. They arrive at the park, playing on the swings while waiting for Soo-hyun to show up. Soo-hyun sits in her car, watching her daughter on the swing from a distance. Then, looking down at the photo of her child, tears begin to well up in her eyes. So, she steps on the gas and drives straight to the beauty salon to find her mother. Heir's best friend sees Soo-hyun for the first time and nervously asks a colleague to confirm if that is indeed her. Once the colleague walks away, the friend sneaks over to eavesdrop on their conversation. The mother says that the surgery will leave a scar, and what would they do if In-jun found out? She insists that Soo-hyun must get married smoothly. This wedding is extremely important for everyone involved. The mother promises to help her handle everything. Soo-hyun was already heartless to begin with, and now, with her mother's support, she feels completely at ease. Back at the company, Heir continues to cast her net to ensnare In-jun. Both of them avoid diving too deep into sensitive topics. When the topic turns to shoemaking, Heir is reminded of her father. She shares stories about the joy she felt making shoes with him in the past. Eventually, In-jun rests his head on Heir's shoulder and drifts off into a peaceful sleep. Heir helps him lie down on the sofa and covers him with a blanket. At that moment, the loan shark calls. He says his investigation revealed that when Heir's sister had her accident, it was In-jun who took her to the hospital and paid the medical bills. Heir is stunned. She stares blankly at the soundly sleeping In-jun, unable to comprehend what is happening. Heir hurriedly arranges a meeting with the loan shark to find out the details. The loan shark has obtained all documents related to the accident. Could it be that her sister's suicide attempt really had something to do with In-jun? Here is undeniable proof, complete with photographs. The loan shark advises her to stop investigating right there. But Heir refuses to listen. She goes to her sister's hospital bedside. Looking at the determined expression on Heir's face, it seems she is about to reach her breaking point. Meanwhile, Soo-hyun's mother also goes to find Tae-oh. She tells him that her daughter has been exceptionally perfect from childhood to adulthood. The only stain on her life was meeting a man like him. Tae-oh replies that no matter what she says about him, it doesn't matter, as long as she saves the child's life. She really is Soo-hyun's mother. Their heartless and cold nature is truly identical. The uncle is still secretly investigating Heir. He hands the findings to In-jun, explaining that Heir and Tae-oh don't date in their daily lives, so their romantic relationship is definitely fake. Tae-oh certainly sent Heir to approach him, but In-jun gets angry with his uncle. He tells him never to bring this up again. After his uncle leaves, In-jun hurriedly calls his secretary to help him find Heir. He asks Heir if she has broken up with Tae-oh. Heir replies that she has no reason to tell him about her private life. The next day, her best friend asks Heir why In-jun came to her house looking for her when he is already engaged. Heir doesn't dodge the question at all, telling her best friend that she intends to seduce In-jun. Only then does the friend realize that Heir asked her to investigate Soo-hyun precisely because she wanted to seduce In-jun. At this point, the friend briefly recounts what she overheard at the beauty salon last time to Heir. When In-jun returns home, he discovers that Soo-hyun has prepared a table full of delicious food waiting for him. This move is clearly an attempt to win over a man's stomach first, and then capture his heart. After confirming the situation, Heir goes to see Tae-oh's child and asks the loan shark to take photos of them. Next, she arranges to meet Tae-oh and even gives a set of clothes as a gift for the child. Tae-oh looks a bit tense when he realizes Heir and knows about his child. Heir says that if he ever dares to touch her sister again, she will take revenge on his daughter in the exact same way. Tae-oh, furious, is about to leave when Heir calls him back, telling him to hold on because she has an even better trick up her sleeve. She then sends a photo of his child to Soo-hyun while she is in the middle of an interview, causing Soo-hyun to freeze in shock. At this moment, Heir feels like victory is firmly within her grasp. She then seeks out In-jun's uncle and tells him about Soo-hyun having a child. The uncle is initially shocked, then hurriedly asks if she has told anyone else about this. Heir says that since he is closest to In-jun, she only told him. Heir never expected that this act of goodwill would bring disaster upon herself. On Heir's way home, two men are tailing her closely. Heir senses something is wrong. She quickly pulls out her phone, pretending to make a call to scare off the stalkers, but they only chase her more closely. Terrified, Heir breaks into a run. Finally, Heir is cornered with no way out. Left with no choice, she risks everything to fight back against her pursuers. Luckily, she has past experience with being chased and beaten. She grabs a beer bottle and fights off the thugs. Meanwhile, the uncle receives a call from his subordinate, reporting that everything has been handled properly. Afterward, he tells In-jun that Heir had been spreading strange rumors just to get close to him, but that he has already taken care of it. Today is the day the two families are meeting to discuss the wedding details. But In-jun seems completely distracted. Suddenly, his phone rings. It is a distress call from Heir. In-jun recalls the words his uncle just said. His father scolds him for not turning off his phone during such an important occasion, calling him disrespectful. In-jun ignores everything, leaves everyone behind, and rushes out. Judging by his reckless driving skills, you can tell just how worried he is. In-jun uses his phone's GPS to locate Heir. Seeing the girl huddled in front of him, In-jun can no longer hide his feelings and plants a kiss on her lips. After this incident, their relationship takes another step forward. Elsewhere, Soo-hyun sits alone, looking at a table full of food. Unable to contain her anger, she chases after him all the way to In-jun's house. As soon as she enters the door, she spots a pair of women's shoes. Seeing that the lights are still on in the bedroom, tears begin to well up in her eyes. She hesitates for a second, then leaves in heartbreak. In-jun is carefully treating Heir's wounds, completely unaware that someone has entered the house. Just like that, Heir spends the night in In-jun's luxurious villa. In-jun tells Heir that he was completely serious about what happened last night. Heir is a bit surprised. Just as In-jun is stumbling over his words, not knowing what to say, the sound of the door opening is heard. Seeing the two of them walk out together, the assistant is frozen in fear. In-jun hurriedly orders his assistant to drive Heir home. Teo is already waiting at her door. He praises Heir for her skills, saying she did a great job, and even asks if she took photos as evidence. Heir contemptuously swats Teo's hand away, saying it hasn't come to that yet. Because of what happened last night, Soo-hyun's father has withdrawn his shares. In-jun no longer holds any power in the company. At this moment, his father also hands him a membership card for a nursing home, the exact same club card In-jun had previously made for his father. That day, Soo-hyun's father was so furious that he not only withdrew his shares, but also went to In-jun's father's house to demand an explanation. He threatened that if things continued this way, they would reconsider the marriage. In-jun's father, completely unfazed, makes a single phone call. He then reveals to him why his eldest daughter-in-law has to work like a slave in this house. It's because years ago, with just one phone call, he ruined her entire family. The son, wife, and daughter-in-law standing nearby are all shocked by his words. No one expected the old man to be this ruthless. Soo-hyun's father is so terrified that he falls to his knees right on the spot. It seems this marriage has to happen whether they like it or not. Soo-hyun goes to Heir's house. Her large eyes dart around, scanning everything in the house, before she mocks Heir for being a sloppy woman. She then pulls the classic rich person move, telling Heir to name her price and leave In-jun. Heir, of course, refuses. She reveals that she knows Soo-hyun is the mother of Teo's child. Soo-hyun, pretending to be calm, dismisses it as a mere rumor. Meanwhile, the uncle recounts to In-jun how his father dealt with Soo-hyun's father. He advises In-jun to follow his father's arrangements. At this point, In-jun is caught in a dilemma. On one side is the person he loves, and on the other is the marriage arranged by his family. Left with no choice, In-jun seeks out Heir again. But when he arrives at her place, he simply calls her on the phone instead of telling her he's standing right outside her door. Perhaps this is what they call a spiritual connection. As soon as she hangs up, Heir is already standing right behind him. Furthermore, she holds a white scarf and slowly wraps it around his neck. In this moment, In-jun is overwhelmed with a sense of happiness. If a man doesn't love you, no matter how beautiful you are or how successful your career is, it's useless. Just like the way In-jun brutally rejects Soo-hyun. To express his guilt, he assures her that after they break up, her family won't face any trouble. But Soo-hyun completely tunes him out. Elsewhere, the loan shark brings new information about Heir's sister. He knows Heir and In-jun are now together. He advises Heir that it would be best if she didn't know the truth. But Heir insists she must find the culprit who harmed her sister. During work hours, the two of them secretly date on the company rooftop. Soo-hyun, meanwhile, has her wedding invitations printed and brings them to the office. Seeing the two of them walk in together, She rushes over and hands one to Injun first. A bride handing a wedding invitation to the groom. This is a first. Then she hands one to Heir, adding, "Consider it a souvenir. You don't need to come." Seeing the situation, Heir hurriedly goes to find Teo. She tells him that, just as he instructed, she has captured Injun's heart. The next step is for Teo to make his move. The only way is to use the child to force Soo-hyun to give up on the wedding. Injun goes to his older brother and hands over his shares and land rights to him. The brother is skeptical, asking what trick he is playing. Injun seriously replies, "The condition for this exchange is that no matter what, you must protect Soo-hyun's father and not let him be affected." Soo-hyun, however, is still immersed in her dream of getting married. Injun tells her that he has given up everything and does not intend to marry her. But Soo-hyun continues talking about the wedding all by herself. Meanwhile, Teo calls the TV station, preparing to expose Soo-hyun. He brings his daughter's documents and waits for the reporter. But when the reporter arrives, he hesitates and walks away. The reporter, confused, seeks out Soo-hyun to ask about the situation. Soo-hyun claims she doesn't know Teo at all. She then promptly hands the reporter a wedding invitation to keep her mouth shut. Stressed, Soo-hyun hurriedly finds her mother to discuss a counter-strategy. The result is that her mother hands her a ticket to an art exhibition, telling Soo-hyun to go watch it as a distraction. Then, the mother leads some people to find the child. While viewing the art exhibition, Soo-hyun suddenly feels something is wrong. She doesn't know what her mother plans to do with the child. Luckily, Soo-hyun returns in time to stop it. Her daughter, Jenny, is terrified and still sobbing. Just as Teo is frantically worrying, Soo-hyun brings Jenny to him. Jenny tells her father that the auntie saved her. Hearing these words, Teo is somewhat moved and thanks her. Heir is at the hospital taking care of her sister, eating hospital food alone. At that moment, Injun calls to invite her to dinner. The way Chaebol spend money is truly generous, renting out the entire restaurant just to enjoy a private dinner with the person they love. When she gets home, the loan shark is waiting at her door again. He brings her sister's medical records from when she was first admitted. He advises Heir that even though the investigation is complete, she should let it go and not look at it. She should just go ahead and marry Injun and become a wealthy wife. Even if she continues investigating, her sister won't wake up. Many people have been broken by the truth. Hearing these words, Heir hesitates. She brings the documents to her sister's hospital bedside, crying as she throws them into the trash can. But moments later, Heir picks her sister's medical records back out of the trash. The documents clearly state that there is a very high possibility that her sister was murdered. It turns out someone deliberately harmed her sister, then staged it as a suicide to cover up the truth. The loan shark takes Heir to meet the doctor who was in charge of the treatment at that time. After a bit of persuasion from the loan shark, the doctor reveals that it was Injun and his uncle who brought her sister to the hospital. Hearing this, Heir feels like she is going insane. Originally, her contract with Teo was about to end, but as a result of discovering her sister was framed, Heir makes a major decision. She goes to find Injun's stepmother. She tells her she wants to marry Injun and asks the stepmother to chase Soo-hyun away. The stepmother is visibly delighted to hear this. After all, Injun giving up his shares in the group means her own son becomes the sole heir. The stepmother can hardly believe it and confirms it once more. After getting confirmation, she happily agrees to Heir's request. But shortly after, a subordinate informs them that Heir is the younger sister of Hyundoo, the woman whom her eldest son abandoned years ago. The son gets a bit nervous, asking if Heir knows something, and approaches them because of it. The mother tells him not to worry, assuring him that both the hospital and the police are on their side, so nothing will happen. She suggests they seize this opportunity to use Heir to defeat Injun. Meanwhile, the foolish Injun is completely unaware that he is being used. He has already gone with his assistant to buy a diamond engagement ring. But when Heir meets him, she is as cold as if she were facing an enemy, leaving Injun bewildered. Due to the psychological pressure, Heir faints while working. When she wakes up, her best friend tells her she has been in a coma for a day. Seeing her poor health, the friend advises her once again. She should report her sister's case to the police and let them handle it, instead of doing dangerous things on her own. Before the friend can finish her sentence, someone knocks on the door. Hearing about the situation, Injun rushes to her house to visit her. At this moment, Heir's attitude suddenly changes completely. She hurriedly says that she treated him that way yesterday because she was in a bad mood. Injun even blames himself, saying it was his fault for not doing well enough, which caused her distress. Just like that, the two of them make a promise to each other. Leaving her house, Injun goes straight to his father. He hands over the agreement, giving up his shares to his father, and tells him that he will not marry Soo-hyun. The father is so furious that he slaps him hard across the face. He then grabs a cane, intending to beat his son, and even threatens to kill Heir. Hearing that threat, Injun snaps. He snatches the cane from his father, throws it away, and stands up to him. After his son leaves, the old man goes on a rampage, smashing everything in sight. Hearing the commotion, the stepmother starts gloating again. Once Injun is gone, She rushes into the house and adds fuel to the fire, bad-mouthing In-jun. The old man, already furious, suffers a spike in blood pressure right on the spot. The doctor says the old man is fine and just needs a little rest to recover. Afterward, the doctor calls the stepmother out for a private chat. He recounts the story of Heir coming to find him for the stepmother. The stepmother calmly replies, "All the evidence has been destroyed, so it's fine." Then she tells the doctor to increase the dosage of the old man's sleeping pills so he can sleep for a few more days and get plenty of rest. This just goes to show, don't be foolish enough to provoke a woman, or the next person who has to rest might be you. While the father is sound asleep, the two brothers prepare to sign the agreement. The uncle calls out to In-jun, kneeling down to beg him not to give up his shares. But In-jun, blinded by love, doesn't listen to his uncle at all. He disregards everything and signs the agreement to relinquish his shares to his older brother. Hearing this news, the stepmother is so happy she nearly faints. Meanwhile, Soo-hyun, upon seeing the news, slaps Tae-oh straight across the face. She accuses Tae-oh and Heir of destroying her happiness. At this time, the uncle also seeks out Heir, using the same old trick of pulling out money to drive Heir away. But Heir, fueled by her determination, frankly states that she loves In-jun, so she cannot accept his offer. Soo-hyun goes absolutely berserk. Drunk, she stumbles her way to Tae-oh's place and declares she will donate her kidney to their child, on the condition that he helps her kill Heir. In her drunken state, Soo-hyun spends the night at Tae-oh's house and accidentally discovers the secret that Tae-oh was the one who sought out Heir. So, she takes that envelope and hands it over to In-jun. Seeing the situation unfold like this, In-jun doesn't know how to face Heir. He invites Heir to his house, planning to have a few drinks and let Heir reveal the truth herself. But Heir claims she has nothing to hide, then leaves in a panic. When she gets home, Soo-hyun is already waiting at her door. She has come to declare war. Afraid that Soo-hyun will ruin her marriage with In-jun, Heir goes to her future mother-in-law to ask for help. In-jun thinks it over and over, unsure of what to do. So he takes Heir to a church and says he wants to hold their wedding there. Because he still has doubts in his heart, In-jun asks that question again. Speechless, Heir runs out of the church. At that moment, she receives a phone call from her best friend. Earlier, when the friend went to give a massage to the stepmother, she accidentally discovered the eldest daughter-in-law's secret. She had been recording everything happening in the house and even marking the dates. The friend noticed a recording dated the day Heir's sister had her accident and played it. Hearing the truth, the friend was terrified. She was just about to take the tape out the door when she bumped into the stepmother. So, she ran for her life. In her panic, she ran into a car, the tape flew out, and just then, it was run over by another car. Tragically, the friend kicked the bucket right there. On the other end of the line, Heir goes crazy. When she arrives at the scene, she sees only the cold, lifeless body of her friend. At this time, a subordinate brings the friend's documents to the stepmother. The stepmother remarks that she initially thought the girl was just a thief, but she didn't expect her to be a spy. Hearing this, the son becomes even more frightened. The mother, however, says that this incident will actually help them. She seeks out the cooperating doctor, gives him a photo, and tells him to find a way to plant it among Heir's friends' belongings. In-jun notices that Heir hasn't come to work for 2 days and isn't answering her phone, and only then does he find out what happened. Learning the situation, In-jun rushes to comfort Heir. Just as Heir returns from handling her best friend's funeral, she meets Tae-oh. Tae-oh says he has told Soo-hyun everything and advises Heir that their deal ends here. Misfortunes truly never come singly. Back home, Heir begins sorting through her best friend's belongings. She immediately spots a photo of In-jun and her sister together, which had been deliberately placed there. Heir hurriedly calls her friend's workplace, asking where she had gone before the accident. She takes a taxi overnight to find the stepmother. She shows the photo and asks if the stepmother had known about the relationship between her sister and In-jun all along. The stepmother lies, saying that her sister had come to the house claiming she was pregnant and made a huge scene. After leaving the house, the accident happened. Listening to the stepmother, Heir casts aside all her previous doubts. In this moment, she is convinced that In-jun is the one who harmed her sister. In immense pain, Heir goes to see In-jun. In-jun prepares wine as usual. Heir says she will pour the wine this time. She slowly takes out a pill she had prepared. Just then, Soo-hyun calls just in time. In-jun still chooses to reject the call. Out of options, Soo-hyun leaves a voicemail, telling In-jun everything and warning him not to trust Heir. It seems Soo-hyun still loves In-jun, but it is too late. Heir has already brought the glass of wine over. Then, In-jun takes the glass Heir offers and downs it in one gulp. Elsewhere, there is a father who has taken sleeping pills and is still fast asleep. The stepmother tells the doctor to wake him up. The old man wakes up groggy, and the first thing he does is call out In-jun's name. Hearing this, the eldest son becomes even more furious. He grabs his father's hand and forces him to sign the power of attorney for the chairmanship. Afterward, the stepmother orders the doctor to let him continue sleeping. The sleeping pill given to In-jun earlier was also given to Heir by the stepmother. At this moment, Heir can no longer hide her anger. As for In-jun, after taking the pill, he collapses and falls asleep right on the spot. Actually, she should be thanking In-jun. For years ago, it was actually because In-jun discovered her sister in front of his house and rushed her to the hospital in time that her sister's life was saved. Back then, In-jun intended to report it to the police. But since he had just returned to the country and his influence was weak, coupled with his uncle's relentless persuasion, he let the matter slide. The older brother, holding the power of attorney for the chairmanship, convenes a shareholders' meeting. At this moment, the uncle, who has always looked out for In-jun, is blocked outside the door. Unable to reach In-jun by phone, the assistant rushes to In-jun's house to find him. When he is finally woken up, In-jun realizes that Heir drugged him. Furious, he smashes a glass. Meanwhile, the older brother has already taken over the management of the group. Realizing he has been framed, In-jun races to the scene. However, it is all too late. The older brother has become the largest shareholder and announced the dissolution of the shoe company. Just then, the assistant receives a call reporting that someone is demolishing the leather shoe factory. When they arrive, the scene is a chaotic mess. Even his mother's branding iron has been tossed on the ground. However, before In-jun even has time to grieve, the police arrive at his door. Looking at the evidence Heir provided, In-jun is stunned. His uncle calls, telling him not to say anything and to wait for him to arrive, assuring him that everything will be cleared up. The uncle hurriedly grabs evidence of the older brother's crimes and prepares to go to the police station to save In-jun. However, on his way there, the uncle's car is struck by a large truck. And just like that, the uncle also kicks the bucket and passes away. Learning of the situation, Soo-hyun goes straight to the company to teach Tae-oh a lesson. She blames Tae-oh for bringing Heir into the picture, which has now led to In-jun's miserable downfall. Meanwhile, the stepmother is full of praise for Heir, saying she did a great job, and tells her that before the shoe factory is dissolved, Heir can temporarily hold the position of director there. Heir refuses the stepmother's kindness. She says her revenge is complete, so she will take her sister back to their hometown. At this moment, Heir should feel relieved. But before she can even finish her thought, the loan shark gangster comes to find her. The loan shark says that they have all been deceived. It turns out that at the scene of the uncle's car accident, he discovered the evidence the uncle had prepared. The loan shark pulls out a photo of her sister together with the older brother. Looking at the photo, Heir is utterly shocked. She never expected that she had taken revenge on the wrong person. Regrettably, it is too late. In-jun is convicted of attempted murder and sentenced to 2 years in prison. Thinking back on all the good things In-jun did for her, Heir feels like she is about to collapse. The loan shark advises her to stay calm. Since things have reached this point, she might as well become strong herself to take revenge on them. Enlightened by the loan shark, Heir turns completely ruthless. She goes to the older brother and tells him she accepts the position of director of the shoe factory. Seeing Heir's demeanor on her first day in office, her colleagues can't believe their eyes. Tae-oh also arrives in time to congratulate her. After going through so much, she no longer has the will to live. Although she has gone from being destitute to wealthy, her life has lost its meaning. That day, Tae-oh visits In-jun in prison. He recounts the entire sequence of events to In-jun. In-jun asks why he is telling him all this. It turns out Soo-hyun agreed to donate her kidney to their daughter and asked Tae-oh to tell In-jun the truth, hoping that after his release, this knowledge might help him. In a flash, 2 years pass. Today is the day In-jun gets released from prison. The only people there to pick him up are his assistant and the worker from the shoe factory. In the car, the two of them fill him in on what happened during In-jun's absence. Returning to the house, he hasn't stepped foot in for a long time. In-jun remembers the scene of being drugged by Heir. Hatred has taken root and sprouted in his heart. The very next day, he goes to the company to declare war on his older brother. The brother, having done evil deeds, starts to feel guilty and nervous. As soon as In-jun walks out the door, he runs into Heir. Their eyes meet, but neither can utter a word of greeting. Just as the assistant speaks up to ask a question, In-jun disappears. At this moment, the older brother calls, telling him to come home to sign some papers. Who knows what devilish trick this guy is planning now? By this time, Heir has become quite close to the stepmother. The stepmother asks her to go to the police station to handle matters for her daughter, who has just caused trouble. Seeing that In-jun has returned, the older brother anxiously seeks out his mother to discuss it. But the stepmother remains as calm and indifferent as ever. Just then, his wife arrives, begging her husband to let their son return to the country. The older brother, already frustrated, takes all his anger out on his wife. The sister-in-law can no longer endure it and finally explodes. She brings all the tape recordings she has to In-jun. She tells him that she originally recorded these to prepare for her divorce. But now, it seems they can help her brother-in-law clear his name. It appears this wife has truly suffered enough. Otherwise, she would never have betrayed her husband on her own. After returning, In-jun listens to every single recording one by one. Each tape contains fatal evidence. After listening, In-jun goes straight to Heir. He tells her that he did not murder her sister. Heir replies that she already knows. In-jun begins his path of revenge. First, he tracks down the doctor who colluded with the stepmother and plays the recording for him. Hearing the tape, the doctor is terrified and hurriedly kneels to beg In-jun for mercy. In-jun tells him to go back first and wake up his father. To atone for her mistakes, Heir also starts secretly helping In-jun. Relying on the close relationship she built over the past few years with the stepmother's daughter, and adding the fact that the daughter was already sick of her family's behavior, Heir successfully persuades her to gift her shares to In-jun. In-jun's assistant also obtains some evidence regarding the older brother's company forging the books from the brother's assistant. However, these documents bear Heir's signature. The assistant says that if they use this as evidence, it will implicate Heir. In-jun coldly replies that as long as he can get revenge, it doesn't matter who gets dragged down. The doctor arrives at the house, preparing to wake the old man up. But the older brother says he wants his father to stay lying there forever. This eldest son is truly crazy. He dares to make a move even against his own biological father. The doctor goes out and reports the situation to In-jun. Anxious, In-jun hurriedly contacts his sister-in-law, asking her to find a way to move the family members elsewhere. He and the doctor enter together to wake the father up. Meanwhile, the older brother thinks his plan is about to succeed. He is currently announcing to the media that his father is in critical condition. Before he can finish his sentence, In-jun pushes his father in a wheelchair. Next, the assistant plays the recording. Seeing his evil deeds exposed, the older brother screams frantically right on the spot. At this moment, the police arrive and arrest him immediately. He has committed too many crimes. The charge of plotting to harm his father alone is enough to keep him in prison until he rots. The person arrested along with him is his mother. Behind every crime the son committed was the mother's schemes. Heir is also prepared to go to prison. She entrusts her sister to the loan shark, hoping that she can repent properly while in jail. But the loan shark tells her that In-jun never submitted the documents with her signature to the police. Just then, Heir's sister miraculously wakes up. Hearing the news, In-jun rushes to see her, asking who actually harmed her all those years ago. Unable to speak, the sister points her finger at the sister-in-law, accusing her. Just like that, the sister-in-law is also thrown into prison. Tae-oh takes his daughter back to Hong Kong. Before they leave, Soo-hyun comes to see them off. Heir takes her sister back to their hometown and reopens their old shoe shop. In-jun becomes the sole heir of the group. One day, a year later, In-jun travels to Heir's hometown. After going through so many storms, the two of them finally come together. That is the end of the movie. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to see more great movies. Goodbye and see you again.